In a case that has sent ripples through both religious and media communities, the Colleyville Police Department has officially closed an 18-month-long investigation into allegations of child sexual abuse tied to the founding family of Daystar television network, a globally broadcast Christian network. Despite the serious nature of the accusations, the investigation concluded with no charges filed due to insufficient evidence. The child abuse allegations originally surfaced when Jonathan Lamb, son of Daystar founders Marcus and Joni Lamb, and his wife Susie publicly revealed their daughter's claim of being sexually abused by a male relative in 2020. This revelation shook many, especially given the standing of the Lamb family in Christian broadcasting. The situation further intensified as family members contradicted one another in public statements and interviews, shedding light on internal strife and raising concerns over transparency and accountability within Christian institutions. With the police stating that the child had made no outcry and that there was no evidence to support the claims, the case was presented to the Tarrant County District Attorney's Office and subsequently closed. However, the story is far from over. In an emotional social media post, Susie Lamb emphasized that many children don't speak out until they are adults, leaving open the possibility that the case could be revisited in the future. Meanwhile, Daystar has maintained that it took the matter seriously and fully cooperated with the authorities. As public opinion divides and theological discourse ignites, many are left wondering, what does justice look like in the shadow of faith, family, and influence? The Daystar investigation captures the volatile intersection of faith, family loyalty, and public scrutiny. What happens when an accusation of this magnitude arises within a Christian empire built on trust, moral values, and divine mission? The narrative is layered. A family feud, a silenced victim, and a religious organization striving to defend its reputation. The initial revelation came from Jonathan and Susie Lamb, who disclosed that their daughter had accused a male relative of sexual abuse, an accusation that shook their own family foundation. Jonathan, once a prominent figure within Daystar, claimed he was ousted from leadership roles and placed on a performance improvement plan as retaliation for refusing to sign an NDA. Conversely, Joni Lamb asserted that her son was removed purely based on job performance. This conflicting narrative stirred public speculation. Some accused Daystar of mishandling the situation or attempting a cover-up. Daystar responded defensively, stating the accused voluntarily underwent police interviews and passed 2 polygraph tests. According to police, the lack of evidence and the absence of an outcry from the alleged victim made it impossible to pursue criminal charges. Yet, many advocates argue that child victims of abuse often remain silent for years due to fear, trauma, and manipulation. Experts say it's not uncommon for such cases to remain dormant until victims reach adulthood. This reality underscores why the statute of limitations for child sexual abuse has been eliminated in states like Texas. The case remains technically closed, but not final. In the court of public opinion, the response has been sharply divided. For some, the closing of the case validates Daystar's integrity. For others, it signals a miscarriage of justice driven by systemic gaps in addressing child abuse, especially when it involves powerful figures. Adding to the complexity is the Christian community's struggle with transparency and accountability. Religious institutions, due to their moral authority and communal bonds, sometimes become echo chambers where allegations are downplayed or outright dismissed in the name of forgiveness or protecting the church. What's emerging is more than just a legal case. It's a test of values, leadership, and truth. And while Daystar may feel vindicated for now, the question remains, is justice truly served when a child's voice has yet to be heard? Scripture does not shy away from the need for justice and the protection of the innocent. Proverbs 31 verses 8 to 9 urges, "Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, defend the rights of the poor and needy." In this context, the child in question embodies the voiceless, those unable to advocate for themselves due to age, fear, or trauma. Jesus Christ himself set a precedent for how children should be treated. In Matthew 18 verse 6, he warned, "If anyone causes one of these little ones, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them to have a large millstone hung around their neck and to be drowned in the depths of the sea." This passage reflects the severity with which Christ views the abuse of children. Moreover, in 1 Timothy 5 verse 20, Paul instructs that those who persist in sin should be publicly rebuked so that others may take warning. Transparency and accountability are not optional, they are biblically mandated. The Bible does not promote silence in the face of wrongdoing, even when it involves leaders or family. As the church navigates these turbulent waters, it must not only pray but also act. Faith without works is dead, James 2 verse 17. The Christian community must foster a culture where allegations are investigated thoroughly, victims are supported unconditionally, and no one, regardless of their status, is above reproach. The closure of the child sexual abuse investigation involving the Daystar television network, without charges being filed, leaves more questions than answers. While the Colleyville Police Department concluded its work based on the evidence, or lack thereof, available to them, the broader narrative remains fraught with moral, emotional, and spiritual complexities. For supporters of Daystar and the Lamb family, this may feel like vindication. The absence of charges reinforces their faith in the integrity of the organization and its leaders. But for others, especially survivors and advocates of child abuse victims, the closure of the case does not equate to justice. Rather, it reveals systemic limitations in how abuse allegations are handled when the alleged abuser is part of a powerful institution. This case has exposed a fundamental need for change, not just within the legal system but within faith communities. Churches and Christian organizations must rise to the challenge of being safe havens, not shields for secrecy. They must model radical accountability, where truth and justice matter more than public image. Jonathan and Susie Lamb's decision to speak out, despite internal backlash, highlights the emotional and spiritual toll of confronting abuse within a family. Their story reminds us that faith can both comfort and complicate, especially when silence is enforced in the name of unity. The Christian response to abuse must not be limited to prayer and platitude. It requires courageous action, honest confrontation, and relentless pursuit of justice. Survivors must feel empowered to speak without fear. Leaders must be willing to listen and investigate without bias. And the community must create space for lament, healing, and, where possible, restoration. As the Bible commands in Micah 6 verse 8, "He has shown you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God." That's not just a call to personal holiness, it's a command for institutional responsibility. The case may be closed, but the conversation must continue. If new evidence emerges, if the alleged victim chooses to speak, the legal system will reopen the case. But even if that moment never comes, the responsibility of the church and its leaders is now. Now is the time to reflect, to act, and to commit to protecting the vulnerable above protecting reputations. This is not just Daystar's story. It's a wake-up call for every faith-based institution entrusted with the souls and safety of the innocent.